What's up, Horde? It's Necro and welcome back to the channel. We're here today to talk about a few things you can do as a player to instantly become better at Warzone. While we can and will discuss more advanced things later, we're going to talk about some basic things that everyone should start with so they can become better than the average player. Some of these will seem obvious to you, perhaps not. Either way, I'm here to help and I'm hoping I can do just that. Before we get into it, if you found this channel for the first time and enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing more and more videos like this in the future, and I'd love for you to see them. Also, if you enjoy live streams, I stream on Twitch nearly every day. You can find a link to my Twitch channel in the description below. Let's start off with an extremely basic one. Learn the map. Did you know there's more to the map than just Superstore? Did you know most of the time where you land will not be where the round ends? Both of these are true, and there's something quite easy you can do about it, which is, again, learn the map. Verdansk is a big place with a lot of places to be. I can't express enough how important map knowledge is in any shooter, let alone a battle royale. So many people seemingly get lost in areas they don't know well and end up losing to a guy that's right in front of them clear as day. Take some time to drop in different locations from time to time and explore them a bit. You don't need to look at every nook and cranny, but at least get a basic understanding of the area so you know entry points and angles as well as exits. This knowledge can be the difference between winning with a handgun or losing to a shotgun. The next tip I have for you is to center your crosshairs. As you move about the map, always be aiming at areas that have high potential for enemy players to be located. Whether it's a doorway, a window, or the opposite end of a rooftop as you're climbing a ladder, you should be aiming where enemies might be so it reduces the time it'll take for you to snap to your target and take them down. This is a pretty standard tip that is universal in FPS games, but so many don't do it and wonder why they miss a quick and easy shot on someone in an obvious spot. Obviously, knowing the map as mentioned in tip number 1 helps you learn where to aim, but that's why I mentioned that first, as these go hand in hand with each other. The third tip I can give you is to live ping your enemies. Whether you're playing solo or in a group with others, the information a ping can give you for a couple seconds can be highly useful. It's a small thing, but it makes all the world of difference in many fights. I often ping enemies just to get a clear read on which direction they're heading, as well as it helps gauge the distance between you and the enemy players. Always remember that intel is just as important as accuracy. Having any advantage over the enemy is a benefit, so definitely make use of the ping system built into the game. I do understand that some control schemes can be a bit uncomfortable to use, but keep in mind that you can change it up in the settings to perhaps find a more comfortable setup to ping your enemies easily on the fly. The fourth tip I have for you today is to reposition in prolonged gunfights. Using cover to hide your movement and getting a different angle on the enemy player can go a long way in being successful in Warzone. So many players get tunnel visioned on the spot they last saw you to the point where you can actually purposely let them see you and then reappear somewhere else a few seconds later to get an easy kill. On the adverse side to the enemy tunnel visioning, if they're aware you are moving around, you can keep them unsteady in their aim if you're moving place to place trying to land shots on them. If you peek a spot, I highly recommend not repeaking that same spot, as the enemy will have their aim trained to that location for at least a moment. It pays to move around and make them guess where you'll appear next. Tip number 5 is to learn loadout drop locations. You may have noticed at 13 seconds left for the first circle to close in Warzone, loadout boxes drop all over the map. They all drop in predetermined locations, and you can force them to drop in favorable spots for you and your squad if you stick close together as the 13-second mark approaches. If you get them to drop in your spot of choice, you can then see how many other loadout boxes drop with yours and use that information to your advantage to keep an eye out for enemies and take them out before they're able to grab their gear. You'll find yourself learning the locations of these drops if you took advice from my first tip again and started learning more of the map. Tip number 6 is to learn and understand mobility on different weapons. Every weapon in the game has a mobility stat, and you can make the most of your movements if you understand which weapons you're carrying will allow you to move faster. Generally speaking, SMGs, shotguns, and handguns allow you to move faster than other weapons. Always keep this in mind if you're finding yourself in a situation where you need to move quickly to get behind cover, or if you're trying to chase someone down or run away from someone else chasing you down. I know many people often forget the position of the circle of gas coming in, and I'm guilty of this myself. So another pointer here is you can run even faster with a melee weapon or just your fists. You can actually open up your inventory and drop a weapon so you can sprint faster to get back in play. Sure, you'll be down a weapon, but at least you're still in the game. Tip number 7 may seem obvious, but after playing Warzone for so long and seeing how many people carrying $20,000 or more on them after taking them out, I feel I have to mention it. Spend your cash that you find around the map and on enemies you take down. Buy yourself a loadout if you have money early, buy UAVs to find where other players are, get self-revives to give yourself a chance to come back. Just don't let the money sit in your pockets because all you're doing is not using an advantage you should be. Airstrikes are great for suppressing enemies on rooftops or making a mad dash in the open against someone that has you in their sights. You'll thank yourself time and time again for having used the money rather than letting it sit in your pockets doing nothing but benefiting the players that might take you down. Our 8th tip today is how to earn money quickly. Do the contracts you find around the map. They're found all over the place and are there to get you paid so you can do all the things I mentioned in tip 7. I personally like to go for bounties so I can hunt down enemy players, but you can also do recon and scavenger contracts. Scavenger contracts specifically are nice early as they give you really great loot to gain an edge quickly, from money to gas masks and even armor satchels. While you can only do one contract at a time, if you do them quickly you can get yourself a loadout before the first circle starts to close and give yourself a massive early game advantage. I know many players prefer to drop in locations where they can fight a lot of players at once, but consider dropping somewhere a little quieter and getting some contracts done. You may find you can get even more kills per game this way. Tip number 9 may spark some debate and I'm absolutely down to discuss it with you guys, so let me know what you think. Do not dropshot in Warzone unless the enemy player doesn't know you're onto them. While dropshotting has proved to be effective in many past Call of Duty titles, Warzone changes that element when it comes to headshot damage. With how strong aim assist is in this game, when you drop shot, you leave your head exposed to your enemy and they're going to get all the headshot multiplayer damage in the world for free. The only time you should drop shot is if you've completely surprised your enemy and they're already in a panic. If it's a fight where the enemy knows where you are, you only leave yourself immobile and become a free target. My recommendation in place of drop shotting is jumping while firing. You don't suffer a penalty to movement until the second jump, and by that time most fights are already decided. Keep this in mind and you may find yourself winning more fights than ever before. The 10th and final tip I have for you today is to have fun and be positive. Remember that video games exist to be fun first and foremost, so don't do yourself the disservice of raging every time you get killed or miss an easy shot. Laugh it off and load up the next round instead, and I guarantee you'll appreciate the game in a way you might not have realized. Tell your friends good job when they get that kill that saves you, and they may become more interested in playing with you more in the future. It's all too easy to forget the fun when you want to play well and are trying to improve, but always keep it at the top of your head and you'll notice improvements much faster. That wraps up the 10 tips I have for you to get better at Warzone. I hope I've helped you at least a little. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you found any of this useful. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.